start of the 1950s, membership stood at approximately 275, and the IODE increased their efforts to raise money for their headquarters. Various events were organised, including a concert given by Irving Berlin at the British Colonial Hotel in March 1950. Another big fundraiser was Lady Brown's cookbook, originally produced by past President Lady Brown, wife of Sir Joseph Brown, and later Mrs. Leslie Higgs took over its publication. It was reproduced in 1962, and the proceeds from sales went towards the IODE's benevolent and educational work. In 1951, the national president of the IODE Canada visited Nassau with an exhibit of Queen Mary's carpet, which had been handmade by Queen Mary from 1941 to 1946. Following the Second World War, she had given the carpet to the nation to help Great Britain in a much-needed export drive after the devaluation of the British pound. And I think Britain might well be in need of another royal carpet. The IODE Canada had purchased the carpet in 1950, and it was guaranteed a permanent home in Canada. It was interesting, back then when Mrs. Chipman, the president of the IODE Canada, visited Nassau, membership of IODE Canada stood at some 33,000, and it continues to thrive today. It must be in the hundreds of thousands. In December 1951, the cornerstone of the IODE Bahamas' new headquarters was laid by Mrs. Collins, and a box containing the IODE badge, constitution, coins and newspapers was inserted into the foundation. Finally, in March 1952, this building was officially opened by then-President Mrs. Arthur Sands. The IODE Bahamas now had their own building in which to conduct their fundraising work. The hall was used for dances, meetings, and the order also agreed with the Red Cross to use the hall in times of emergency. Their meetings were a far cry from ladies sipping tea and eating dainty sandwiches. They took on every issue of the day, including women's health and voting rights, and even invited Colonel Ilya Tolstoy, the grandson of renowned Russian author Leo Tolstoy, to address the order on the dangers of communism. In 1958, they granted a 4-year scholarship to a young Brent Malone to study art in England. When I was going through all the files, I found a group of paintings which seemed a little out of place, especially all the nude paintings, until it dawned on me that these could in fact have been sent to the IODE by Brent Malone whilst he was studying in England. I was able to get in touch with Brent's daughter Marisa, who came to see the pictures, and sure enough she confirmed that these were early works by her father, and so I was able to hand them over to her. I'm glad to see Marisa here tonight. Thank you for solving that little mystery, Marisa. The 1960s saw a busy decade for the IODE, with fundraising activities benefiting, amongst others, the Star of the Bahamas Youth Camp, Sandilands Hospital, Crippled Children's Fund, as well as 5 individuals receiving monthly allowances from their benevolent fund. They continued to host dances in the hall for the visiting Navy vessels, and in this respect they received assistance from George Evans, Charles Chapman and Warren MacDonald. 1962 saw the celebration of the Golden Jubilee to honour the founding of the IODE Bahamas, and proceeds from this went to the Bahamas Cancer Society. The Poppy Fund continued to be their major fundraiser on behalf of the Bahamas branch of the Royal British Legion, and of course they continued with the maintenance of the Nassau War Cemetery. The 1970s brought in new challenges for the IODE. Membership had declined, which meant fundraising became difficult to organise, and the main problem they had to face was the hefty property tax placed upon their headquarters. Decisions therefore had to be taken as to the future of the IODE Bahamas. As an organisation whose sole purpose was to raise money for charity and to help those in need, they had no way of also maintaining the costs to run this building. In 1974, Miss Barbara Brown, as president, informed members that she had taken on the presidency for 1 year only, and during this time, we must fish or cut bait. I promised my husband there would be some reference to fishing in this presentation. They rallied round and worked hard to assist various causes, but by 1975 the writing was on the wall. and members were asked to vote as to whether they should try and sell the building. Ultimately, they voted to make a gift of the building to the Bahamas Historical Society, which had been formed in 1959. On May 21, 1976, the keys to the building were officially handed over to the President of the Historical Society, Dr. Paul Albury. In 1978, members were once again to comment in regard to disbanding the order, and by January 1980, a letter was sent to all members when it was decided that the order should continue functioning for another year, but it was stressed that urgent decisions would have to be made in regard to fundraising. Miss Jeanette Roberts became president in 1981, and in 1982 the order celebrated its 80th anniversary. At the beginning of 1983, total membership stood at less than 60, with several being inactive members. Miss Roberts agreed to stay on as president if the order would commit themselves to raising money. 1987 saw the IODE's 86th anniversary, and an article appeared in the Tribune written by Sir Etienne de Puch, who reported that the IODE had disbanded on independence. A letter was quickly sent off to the Tribune to correct this error. 1991 would see the IODE's 90th anniversary, and in 94, as previously mentioned, the Queen and Prince Philip made an official visit to the Bahamas when they visited once again the Nassau War Cemetery, and obviously went away wondering why on earth the hibiscus flowers had safety pins attached to them. Sadly, from 1997 to 2002, membership seriously declined, and there was less enthusiasm to commit to fundraising. Mrs. Cicely Hall was elected the new president, but it was difficult to fill any other posts. Their 100th anniversary was acknowledged in 2001, and in 2003 an emergency meeting took place at the Nassau Yacht Club, when members were asked for their views on the future of the order. Whilst they did not wish to see the order disband, there was still a reluctance from members to volunteer for any of the offices. After much deliberation, I agreed to take on the role of president in a last-bid attempt to revitalise the order. With Eunice Sawyer as vice president, Cicely Hall as secretary, and Niffy Drummond as treasurer, I accepted the office on the understanding that we work hard to commit ourselves to fundraising and not just use the order as a luncheon club. Despite all our efforts and some healthy fundraising over the next year and a half, it became very clear that we would have to take a vote on whether to disband. Whilst there were a few members who were undecided and some who abstained from voting, the overall result was that we should disband, and so plans were set in motion for a farewell lunch on 26th of April 2005. As patron of the IODE Bahamas, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth was notified, and a reply was received from her private secretary at Buckingham Palace. At the farewell lunch, we made donations to various charities, and any remaining funds in the account would continue to be used for the benevolent fund for which 3 trustees were appointed. I presented plaques to 3 of the longest-serving members, namely Miss Winnie Cole, a member for 73 years, Miss Gwen French, a member for 66 years, and Mrs. Dorothea Brown, a member for 65 years. In 2011, the Bahamas Historical Society paid a special tribute to the IODE Bahamas, and presentations were made by Eunice Sawyer and myself. It was very fitting that Miss Barbara Brown was able to attend as one of our oldest surviving members. In 2012, it was discovered that there remained some $10,000 in the IODE bank account, and since there were no longer any recipients of the Benevolent Fund, it was agreed to split the monies between the Cancer Society, Humane Society, Ranfurly Home, Salvation Army, Hands for Hunger, Christian Counselling Centre, Persis Rogers Home, Bahamas Association for the Physically Disabled, Bahamas Conference of the Methodist Church, Reach Bahamas, ARC, and the Historical Society. On completing this history, I am indebted to all those secretaries of the IODE who kept such good records and made the job of going through everything so much easier. To Virginia Balance and Jim Lawler, who read through my manuscript, and to my husband Chris, who was always supportive even when the house was covered with old papers and files. Many thanks to Richard Simonet and his team at Digiprint for kindly donating all the signs for the display. and to Kerry McMillan, who gave me a crash course on PowerPoint presentations. My dear friend Mary McPherson Brown, although not an IODE member herself, was able to help in putting names to faces in many of the old photos. I personally find it so interesting and rewarding to sit down and listen to our elders, and I just feel if more young people did that today, they would be so much richer and wiser for it. This book is purely the IODE Bahamas record of nearly every pound, shilling, pence and dollar raised by them as a women's organisation dedicated to helping the lives of others. I sincerely hope it will serve as a lasting tribute to them and their contributions to Bahamian society over the course of their 104-year history. In the words of the Order's prayer, give to each member of our Order grace to serve thee faithfully and to labour loyally for the welfare of our country. Amen. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jane. That was wonderful. And I hope to sit down and hear every word that you have to say later on. Okay, you have said that you will do the book signing immediately afterwards. Do you want to do the presentation? Yes. Could someone please take a photo of this presentation?